has said that in recent years, there's evidence building that changes in telomere length also contribute to other things besides cancer. And looking at regular people with without cancer and just and their healthy cells in general, telomere length can be associated with all kinds of chronic disorders, diseases people develop that she has linked to shortened telomere length are immune failure, diabetes, cirrhosis of the liver, pulmonary fibrosis, and also age-related diseases like dementia and macular degeneration, which we just had a great story about our Vivix product and macular degeneration. So maybe Elena can share that at the end. But I guess the question is really for our telomeres, how do we support our healthy cells and help them maintain longer telomere lengths? One thing that Dr. Blackburn is sure of is that chronic stress is a major cause of shortened telomeres. And I read in an interview that she said she never thought she would do a study with a psychologist. And I don't know if anybody watches Big Bang Theory, but Sheldon has a definite attitude toward psychology in general, so I kind of picture her like a Sheldon. In this study, she tested mothers of healthy children and mothers of chronically ill children. The mothers of the sick children had markedly shorter telomeres than the mothers with the healthy children. So this chronic stress, obviously contributed to that. They found, and she was loath to say this, but they found that meditation can help. She mentioned a study in which telomeres, it was really hard for her, she said, but telomeres were measured after people had been meditating for a certain period of time, and their telomere length was longer than the people who weren't meditating. Exercise is another thing that has shown positive results with lengthening people's telomeres. And they're not sure if it's the cardiovascular bone building aspect of it or the stress relief of it, but it has been proven that people have longer telomeres after they've dedicated themselves to an exercise program. Avoiding DNA damage in the first place is also key. That's easy said, but hard to do. We're constantly assaulted with toxins, and anywhere we go, regular cleaning products that aren't non-toxic. Being in a hair salon where they're spraying, different things and using hair dyes, non-organic foods, everything adds up into an assault on our DNA. And most of this damage we self-repair, but it accumulates. And the DNA polymerases, which help, kind of repair that damage, can't keep up with the defects as fast as they're being produced. And most damage occurs in the form of oxidative damage, which is rust, basically. You can picture your cells rusting. Arteriosclerosis, which is hardening of the arteries, that's a classic example. That's just, the cell lining getting hard inside the arteries, rusting. So how do we take measures to avoid that? What are some other things besides managing stress? I Googled and I found a lot of topical products like anti-aging creams that claim to have telomeres in them. I also Googled and couldn't find any research supporting any of those products. There have been no studies. So I couldn't find any research also on products that claim to be telomere tonics, but the products themselves haven't actually been tested. They're citing peripheral studies, that resveratrol, for example, will lengthen telomeres, but they haven't actually tested their product. They're adding resveratrol to a product and then saying, oh, this is your telomere miracle.
Yes, astragalus.
Astragalus root, thank you, has two compounds that are shown to have a really positive effect on telomeres, but you would have to eat like a truckload a day of it, and in large quantities it raises homocysteine levels. So, that's a negative. There's a lot more. There's a lot of studies being done on that, but it's going to take a few years to really, produce a supplement that is reliable and safe. Vitamin D3 and omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA are effective as well. Those should be a part of everybody's supplement regimen. And I mentioned resveratrol. Resveratrol supports telomere length, and it has a remarkable capacity to turn on longevity genes and switch off genes that lead to health problems. There have been numbers of studies related to that, and it's really being proven. We've talked a lot about our Vivix product, and we'll let you guys taste this too if you haven't already. I know Suzanne, looking forward to that. Loves that. Vivix, we've always known that it addresses the 4 causes of how a cell ages. And everything happens inside your cell. It's the basic building block of your life. Shaklee's philosophy is to repair the cell and feed the cell. So Vivix is a great, is a great product for that. It's a blend of resveratrol and polyphenols, which are antioxidants, create a powerful tonic. Shaklee identified the muscadine grape as being the best source for the resveratrol, and it could be because the muscadine grape has an extra chromosome that it is also very helpful for the telomere length, but I'm not sure of that. I'm just kind of projecting that. And Shaklee researched a lot of different combinations of the polyphenols. They've found this perfect blend to blunt stress to the cells, increase mitochondrial growth in the cells, which gives the cell more energy to replicate itself and gives you more energy in the end, repairs the DNA inside the cells, so it's working in the chromosomes to repair the DNA, and it slows the production of age proteins, which are advanced glycation end products, which is sort of a fancy term for rust in the cells and gunk that builds up. So it prevents that, and it helps with all those 4 parts of aging. But that's great to say, but how do we know that Shaklee nutrition products like Vivix and our Vitalizer multivitamin actually help telomere length? A couple of years ago, Shaklee partnered with Dr. Elizabeth Blackburn herself to actually study the telomere benefits that Shaklee nutritional products have. I think it's just amazing that this Nobel Prize winning researcher came to Shaklee to work on our products. And this study is kind of a sequel to the 2007 landmark study that Shaklee did with the University of California at Berkeley. And that study, we've talked about that before here as well, but it found that, it studied long-term Shaklee supplement users and people who used other brands and people who didn't use any supplements at all. And across the board, the Shaklee users were, healthier, numbers-wise, like homocysteine levels, C-reactive protein levels, that kind of thing. Weight and lifestyle-wise, all these different markers were far better in the Shaklee group than in the other group. So they've done this new study with Dr. Blackburn, the Shaklee Telomere Length and Characteristics Study, and it's comparing the length of their telomeres, the dietary intakes, and lifestyle characteristics in long-term Shaklee consumers with those of non-Shaklee users. And preliminary results are positive. It's going to be, the study just started last year, so it's going to be a few years before they can release real clinical studies, but the leaks are that it looks really good. Ellen is a participant in this study again too, and she can talk a little bit. She can talk a little bit about that. But before I close,